0. We're now on new business item number 1. Madam Smith.
Yes, Mayor. I'm bringing forth Attorney Travis Walker. He's with the law firm, the law offices of Travis R. Walker. He is proposing to represent the city in litigation against persons or businesses that facilitate or are involved in human trafficking within the city. The representation would be on a contingency fee basis. He's here today. He's going to have a presentation and be available to address any of council's questions.
Thank you. Carry on, sir. Thanks for joining us today.
Mayor, City Council, for the record, Travis Walker here on behalf of the law offices of Travis R. Walker. I had the privilege and honor of speaking with your city attorney and meeting a few of you at a breakfast for the Florida League of Cities a few weeks ago, and was discussing the dangers, the problems of human trafficking and how it is terrible and what's going on. The state of Florida is the third largest state with regards to trafficking that's occurring. And we have a presentation today to kind of walk you through our proposal and what we are anticipating. So subject representation, the city of Palm Bay in litigation against human trafficking locations and establishments involving or facilitating human trafficking, and doing this on a contingency fee basis. A contingency fee meaning that we don't recover any of our attorney's fees unless we recover on behalf of the city. Background and purpose, human trafficking has become a growing issue in many municipalities, including Palm Bay, Florida. The city of Palm Bay seeks legal representation to act against establishments that facilitate or are involved in human trafficking within the city. Similar to the opioid litigation pursued by various cities and states, this litigation model seeks to hold responsible parties accountable for contributing to a public health and safety crisis. So the model that we're using is almost identical to the what was used in the opioid crisis. The goal of the litigation: hold businesses and entities accountable for knowingly facilitating human trafficking. 2, seek injunctive relief or shut down or regulate establishments involved in trafficking activities. 3, recover financial damages incurred by the city of Palm Bay as a result of human trafficking, including costs related to law enforcement, social services, and healthcare. And finally, establish deterrence for future violations. The causes of action, I'll just run through them really quickly, but these are also mirror the same causes of action that were in the opioids, because opioids created an epidemic of problems in cities and counties, and human trafficking is doing almost the same identical thing. Public nuisance, which is basically any type of nuisance that creates crime, violence, and public health issues in the city of Palm Bay. Negligence, businesses failing to take reasonable measures to protect the city and county based upon the premises liability. Unjust enrichment, establishments that have profited from illegal human trafficking, benefiting financially while the city bears the cost of addressing the harm caused by these operations. RICO, if it applies, and it may, if the business is engaged in a pattern of illegal activity, including human trafficking, they may be held liable under civil RICO statutes. Negligence or intentional misrepresentation, businesses may have misrepresented the nature of their operations or failed to disclose known human trafficking activities occurring on their premises, misleading the city and law enforcement. Conspiracy, entities and individuals may have conspired to facilitate human trafficking, violating federal and state anti-trafficking laws. And finally, fraud. Certain establishments may have engaged in fraudulent behavior to conceal trafficking operations, including falsifying business licenses or misrepresenting the nature of their business to authorities. So it's a threefold legal strategy. Investigating and evidence gathering, we are partnered with a AI software that goes and combs the dark web. And unfortunately, if people are stupid enough to have child sex pornography on their laptops and their teachers at school, they're also stupid enough to leave reviews about what they're doing and how they're doing it. So we're able to comb the dark web, and we're using the investigation and evidence gathering to make sure we can prove constructive notice that they knew or should have known was going on. A multifaceted approach, pursue both civil litigation and collaborate with criminal prosecutors when possible to maximize pressure on businesses. And finally, public relations and policy, work with the city of Palm Bay to develop public awareness campaigns that align with litigation and propose policy reforms that complement the legal strategy. Again, the fee arrangement is strictly only if we recover on behalf of the city. No money out of pocket for the city. This litigation would be pursued on a contingency fee basis. We would bear all upfront legal costs, filing fees, expert witnesses, investigations, with the understanding that compensation will be recovered from successful litigation, settlements, or judgments. And This litigation strategy, modeled after successful opioid litigation tactics, is designed to help hold businesses accountable for their role in perpetuating human trafficking within Palm Bay, while also providing financial relief to the city. By pursuing this case on a contingency basis, the city of Palm Bay can seek justice without bearing the financial risk of the litigation upfront. So I'm here to answer any questions you may have. And,
So I guess I'll kick it off. So in layman's term, right? Because I understand attorneys can,
Yes, sir.
describe things a little differently, right?
Yes, sir.
So in layman's term, what the folks that you're going after,
Yes.
right, to in the courts to get these finances, are actual individuals that have profited from human trafficking,
Correct. Yes, Your Honor.
and so that would be more of a kind of like a forfeiture, seizure of their funds, right? Their profits, so to speak.
Their profits, yeah. The way that it works is if they are profiting off of the human trafficking, yes, that we would be going to recoup that, and then also the impacts that they've had by allowing that to happen.
And so based on the amount that you receive, that contingency we would gain after your fees.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to identify these culprits based on AI, and you're tracking the dark web
Yes, sir.
as well.
Yes.
And it's within our borders.
Yes, sir.
Copy that. Any questions, counsel?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I have a question, Mr. Walker. What other municipalities are you representing in this manner?
As of yet, Palm Bay would be the first one, and actually that would allow Palm Bay to be a leader in the state of Florida against human trafficking. So I think it's a great opportunity.
And of course, any action you take would be against companies or individuals that are strictly located within the city of Palm Bay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
No, I just want to thank you again for coming, sir. I appreciate you spoke to me at the League of Cities, so I appreciate that, sir.
Yes, sir.
But I also want to highlight back in 2018, Palm Bay was the first for the opioid litigation. So here we are again. So thank you again, sir.
No, I really appreciate the litigation part is critical, but what you're doing is you're exposing and you're raising the awareness of human trafficking
Yes.
as an industry. So I commend you for doing that and using AI to help you explore that. That does need to get shut down. Madam Attorney, what other do you need us to make a motion for us to proceed on this line, or do you just need consensus?
Yes, if you would make a motion that authorizes me to enter into a contract with him on a contingency basis for human trafficking.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. The forfeiture, drug forfeiture, I would imagine, but come on up, sir, because that way that's also tied up in legals, but it would go to law enforcement. So carry on, sir.
No, yeah, I mean, just to same as you just indicated with regards to forfeiture. Also, as we know, the law enforcement works very hard, and we give a lot of honor to what they do. But the standard of proof in a criminal case is beyond a reasonable doubt, as opposed to preponderance of an evidence. So we're actually able to go after them more effectively in a civil way and take it out. Plus, the cost of wiretaps are extraordinary. So it's a challenge.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Walker, in regards to what Mr. Batten brought up, I know with the opioid settlement, the city is restricted to what they can use the money recovered for. It has to be specifically for programs to help those that were affected by opioid epidemic. I would assume that any money recovered in this situation would also be restricted to whatever requirements that the court would set. In other words, we may not be able to reimburse the police department for their work on anything like this, but it would be up to the courts how the money could be used. Correct?
It would be up to the courts. Obviously, we would structure the complaint to provide the most flexibility for the city of Palm Bay. But it kind of to differentiate, not to go into the legalese weeds too much. The opioid litigation was what we call a multi-district litigation across the entire country. What we would be doing is filing here locally, and so we would have a lot more control over the case as opposed to it going to Cleveland, which is where I think the opioid litigation was from.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why I said the borders. Any other questions? We're good. We're all good? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for what you're doing. Raising the awareness of human trafficking is critical. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Councilman Johnson. And thank you, Council. Thank you.
So, Madam Attorney, you need a motion, but I think some of the discussion is for law enforcement, kind of like drug forfeiture funds, and they could put that funding in. He says he's going to keep it kind of like open, try to get that from the courts to not restrict the city. So that would, I think, what I heard on council is that fund should probably predominantly go to our law enforcement department. Is there anything that you would need in a motion for that, or?
No, because once he enters into those lawsuits and he's thinking about settling or we're getting judgment, just like with all the other cases, those things would come back depending on the amounts, be whether the city manager and I are asking you to move funds here or there, but you all be, because they're going to be, at least we anticipate there will be multiple lawsuits, and just like any of the other cases, you all would be part of those as far as how we would resolve them, and then once we recover any funds, certainly directing us as how those funds would be expended. But right now, I just need you all to authorize me to negotiate with them to get this contract.
Thank you. So I need a motion. I'll be seconding it.
So moved.
I got a motion by Councilman Johnson, seconded by Mayor Medina. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 4-0. We are now on item number 2.